Well, hello. Welcome to the inaugural broadcast of Suspended Fanimation, Saturday morning blast off. And I'm your host, Dennis Patholkis. How's everyone doing this morning? This is going to be a little bit weird, getting used to doing this kind of stuff. So, you know, it's going to take a little learning process here. So, who am I? Uh, I'm a fan like everybody else, and I owned a comic book store at one point in time in my life. I've worked in comic book stores. I collect comics. I watch movies. I've done art. As you can see, there's something hanging behind me that's in process at the moment. Things like that. So, yeah, I'm basically just like everybody else. I just have an opinion, like everybody else. So welcome aboard, and we are going to actually go through a couple of different things today. One of the things, we're going to go through some trailers and anything else that everyone wants to come up here, and I see that there's some people in the chat already. It's the usual people there. Jody, how's it going? Movie Fanobi, of course. Sculpted leather art by Viking Bitch. How's it going? Kato Roan. All right. It's been a while. Yes, it has. And Slurmy Scott. Slurmy Scott's here as well. And anybody else here? That's all I've got so far. But cool. Thank you guys for showing up. And yeah, it's been a little while. Yes, since I've been on air. I used to be with another podcast, and creative differences. Let's just say that. And I am, and Jody, I actually have reviewed Aquaman. If you go back and take a look, and it's a good thing you actually pointed me to that. I did my Aquaman review last night. I recorded it, put it up online. I was not a big fan. That's all I'm going to say. So go ahead and take a look at that review. It's up. Also, like and subscribe this if you like this, and subscribe to my podcast. Of course, the more subscribers I get, the more I can get out there. And it's going to be a little bit of fun. Thanks, Moo Fanobi. Yes, that caterpillar is shaping up nicely on my face. So I'm going to start off by saying also, if you want to stick around, the second season of Futureman is going to be coming out on Hulu on January 11th. And this is, one of my favorite shows. It's really damn funny. It's on Hulu. And I am going to start tomorrow. Probably tomorrow morning-ish. I haven't decided on a time at the moment to do recaps of season 1, episode by episode recaps. So if you guys are up for that, go ahead, start watching now. And episode 1 is going to start tomorrow. I'm going to shoot for 10 a.m. How's that sound? 10 a.m. Pacific time. So go ahead and watch that, and we are going to go through that up until the season 2 premiere. January 11th. Of course, I'm not going to do anything on Christmas. I may do a special podcast, like a recorded podcast for Christmas, and just release it then. Mainly, I'm believing it's going to be Timeless, the season or series finale, if you will, of Timeless that just aired a couple of days ago. And there we go. So since everyone's here, and yes, man, Futureman does rock. It's one of the funniest damn shows that's on there, on the air right now. Excuse me, I got to, drink a little bit as well as I'm doing this thing. And yes, Jody, we do have that trailer for Men in Black International that did drop. I do have it up, excuse me, on my Facebook page. And you can take a look at, it's a Suspended Fanimation on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. And I also have a website, suspendedfanimation.com. There's actually a website link on the YouTube channel here, too, if you want to go to that. Right now, there's no content up there at the moment. It's waiting to get some content on there. And yes, definitely go and check it out. Check out the Facebook page. That's where the majority of the stuff's going to be at. I know a lot of people don't use it anymore, but hey, I'm old. So there you go. And Movie Fanobi, no, I'm not going to be traveling for Christmas. Yeah, I am off this next week, up until the 2nd. I go back on the 2nd to work for my day job, if you will. And yeah, so I'm not traveling. Don't really want to do the travel stuff. It's just, a pain in the ass. And I have enough stuff I got to do here with the podcast, setting this up. So, and thank you, Jody, for already liking the page and subbing. So let's get into this. I'm going to start off with the big news. Keanu Reeves has expressed interest in playing Wolverine. That's right. Keanu Reeves has actually expressed interest in playing Wolverine. And you're going to say, what the hell? When did this happen? Well, according to our guys over at Screen Geek, they were talking to him, I believe, about John Wick 3. And he ended up saying that he was interested in playing that. They were asking him a what if. They said a few years ago you were asked if you do a comic book film, you said you wanted to do Wolverine, but you couldn't take it. You wanted to do Batman, but you couldn't take it. And he says, no, it wasn't that I couldn't take it. It was already cast. So he says he still wants to do Wolverine. If anything, any comic book role that he would take on, it would be Wolverine. Now, remember, Keanu Reeves is older than Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman just turned 50. Keanu Reeves, I believe, is about 52 right now, 53, somewhere around there. And he's still in really damn good shape, considering that, he almost became paralyzed while working on The Matrix. He almost got paralyzed from the, I believe, neck down. He had a back injury that had happened. And yeah, Jody, Wolverine is not far from the truth. But actually, I like Keanu Reeves, man. I don't think he could bulk up to what Hugh Jackman had done for Wolverine. So is he a good fit for it? No, I don't think so. Gambit, I could see him playing Gambit, like an older Gambit, but definitely not Wolverine. Just, yeah. He is, yeah, exactly. He is more wiry than bulky. So, who could play Wolverine at this point in time? That's a good question. Who do you guys think would play a good Wolverine out there? Now that Hugh Jackman has stepped away from it. Well, his beard, he does have the beard for it, Keanu Reeves. He's got that Wolfman-like beard thing that's going on. It's like creeping up to his eyes and everything. And yeah, so it's just very odd. But I was trying to think of anybody, who could play him now at this point. And other than John Bernthal, who's playing Punisher, which obviously he's going to be free because that's going to get canceled. And yeah, everyone keeps saying Tom Hardy, but Tom Hardy, he's doing Venom now. So yeah, he's out of that completely. There's no way in hell that Marvel's going to let Tom Hardy come in after that whole Sony thing with Venom. And yeah, Amy Pascal is doing some weird crap again with Sony and Spider-Man. And basically she's mucking up. So the whole thing with Spider-Man Far and Away that's coming out, that is coming out, I believe, before Avengers Endgame comes out. And that spoils Avengers Endgame because now you know that who comes back because of Sony putting that out there. It's one of the worst things that they could have done. They basically kneecapped Marvel right there. They said, like, oh yeah, take your biggest movie and we're going to kneecap it by putting out our movie, even though you are partnered with us. Yeah, Slurmy Scott. John Bernthal does have the look. He is shorter, stockier. He's huge and he's ugly. And that's what Wolverine's supposed to do. He's supposed to be this ugly guy. And that's what he's known for. He's not pretty. He's not tall. And yeah, he's short, stocky. That's why everyone calls him Runt. Because he's supposed to be like 5'1", 5'2". But yeah, it's probably going to be an unknown actor. You're right, Viking bitch. That's definitely right. Yeah, well, Far From Home was supposed to be released in April, if I remember correctly, and Avengers Endgame isn't supposed to be until May, if I remember correctly. Here, So yeah, it really, I mean, when Tom Holland goofed and said that it takes place after Avengers Endgame, that was the whole thing, because no one told him that he wasn't supposed to say anything. Sony told him it was okay to say it because they didn't care about Marvel, and Marvel was really pissed off that basically they got, you know, the cat came out of the bag at that one. So even though Avengers Endgame, I think, also takes place, it's really weird. They said it's a couple of years after the snap. It's a weird thing. So obviously time travel is going to be involved there. Yeah. Yeah. It's and of course Tom Holland's never going to be trusted with any information ever again because it's Tom Holland. So we talked about Futureman, of course. Tonight, I might actually record a recap of Deadly Class, episode 1, which is out on Sci-Fi on the channel, on the sci-fi.com channel at the moment. And for those of you who don't know about Deadly Class, it's the Russo brothers. They've done this. It's based off a comic that is set in 1980s San Francisco, dealing with a group of kids that are going to an academy to learn to be assassins. That's what this is all about. It looks really badass, but again, it's on Sci-Fi. So yeah, who knows how that's going to turn out. But that's what I'm going to end up taking a look at. And yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Jody, I don't think Marvel is Sony's trying to tank their relationship with Marvel. They are trying to force their way into Marvel, and basically it's them trying to force their way back into the upper ranks of Marvel, where Avery Arad used to be and Amy Pascal used to be, all that kind of stuff. That's the only reason. What they're vying for power is what's happening. So they are sabotaging Marvel as much as possible with their stuff. Mufinobi, no, it is not just a preview episode. It's the full episode that's been released. And the Russos not only produced it, but I believe they directed the first episode as well. So, and yeah, Slurmy, Tom Holland is a young kid. I liked him as Spider-Man. There's a lot of people who didn't. I don't care about them, tell you the truth. He was fine. Yeah, and Avery Arad is fucking crazy, feisty. Yeah. Hey, welcome, feisty. I didn't see you in there. But yeah, it basically what Sony's been doing with Marvel, it's just wrong, man. I mean, they are shoehorning in as much as possible because they have their biggest character. They have Spider-Man, and they have everything associated with Spider-Man, which is a lot of characters. I mean, this whole thing that they're doing with Morbius, and Jared Leto as Morbius, that's going to be it's going to be a shit show. It really is. What they really should do, since they did have a TV channel there for a while, that Crackle, which they're still trying to get off the ground, which isn't working all that well. They should have taken Craven and made like a reality TV show and then spun that off into a movie. Yeah, Feisty, I haven't seen Into the Spider-Verse yet. I know. I went and saw Aquaman, of course, but I didn't see Into the Spider-Verse at the moment. I just didn't have any time. And it just happened to work out that I could see Aquaman before Into the Spider-Verse. So I am planning on seeing that this weekend because, yeah, I need something to wash that Aquaman taste out of my mouth. That little briny taste that, was pretty bad. That's all I'm going to say. And again, if you want to see my take on that, it's here on the channel. Yes, I'm plugging myself. I am. Yeah, Movie Fanobi says, I'm hoping Spider-Man doesn't get oversaturated between MCU and Spider-Verse, which was awesome. The spinoffs and another Spider-Man movie coming up. Yeah, they have the Spider-Man movie coming up. They are doing for Into the Spider-Verse, they're doing a all-girl Spider spinoff is what they're doing. And then, of course, they have Morbius and Venom, because, of course, there's Venom 2 that's coming out. And then there's something else as well, and I can't remember offhand what it is. So yeah, it's gonna be a shit show. Is really what it's gonna be. Yeah, and again, movie Fanobi, the reason why I knew Into the Spider-Verse, I saw the little bit at the end of Venom for Into the Spider-Verse that they did, which was really awesome. And it is like a living comic because, again, you had Lord and Miller directing that, and that's their bread and butter. They like doing that kind of thing, which just makes me wonder what Solo would have been like if it had been left in their hands. I don't think Solo would have been as crappy as Kathleen Kennedy and Lawrence Kasdan thought it was going to be. They were just blowing off Kasdan, telling him to go shove it, and he didn't like that, and he went and told on them to Kathleen Kennedy and got them fired. So yeah, no, the Silver Sable and Black Cat movie has been canceled, from what I understand. At one point, they had put them together, then they had separated them again, and then they've canceled it again. So, yeah, it's not happening. Yeah, Jody, a Craven reality show. They actually did this in the animated series before the current one for Spider-Man. They made Craven the Hunter like a reality TV show, like the Crocodile Hunter, but he's hunting big game and hunting dangerous game, if you will. And he ends up hunting Spider-Man at one point, and he's got like these little drones that are, flying overhead and capturing all this stuff, and it would have been really cool. I think that actually would be the way of doing it. Yeah, it's just a shame. I mean, that property has so much going for it, and yeah, they're just screwing it up left and right. So does anybody see the Doom Patrol teaser trailer that came out? It's only like 30 seconds long. I actually posted it up on Facebook there, and it's a holiday-esque kind of trailer. It's a very weird trailer. It's them getting ready to do a holiday, I guess, picture, and then you're hearing what they're thinking. And so we get to see Crazy Jane, Elastigirl, Cyborg. We actually have Cyborg in this as well. We get to see Mr. Nobody and, of course, Robot Man. And, of course, they did a little fade in of Timothy Dalton as the chief, because that's going to be interesting. And this looks like it's going to be a really interesting show. It's on DC Universe. DC Universe has been kind of weird. And yeah, Movie Fanobi, the one actress that looks kind of familiar, the one who's playing Elastigirl, she's been in a lot of things. And I'm liking the low budget effects as well with Robot Man and the red eyes. That it actually worked really well in the Titans episode where they had him come in, and I'm okay with it, tell you the truth. But Titans didn't seem to work all that well. It was a weird thing, and I think it was just because of budget. This one looks like they're actually putting the budget into this one, hopefully. I mean, because God, they need it, especially with what they're planning on doing. They actually have a character that they've announced that they're going to be putting in. It's called Danny the Street. So Danny the Street is a sentient street. Yes, a street that people live on. And he can infect people with his personality. There you go. It's in one of the episodes. It's going to be really fucking weird having a sentient street. I mean, it works for comics. I don't know how it's going to work live action. So, yeah, it's really weird. Hey, Felipe Diaz, how's it going? Yeah, the cyborg thing. It was like low rank cosplay. I remember one of those things when Terminator 2 came out back in the 90s. They were actually the big ticket item for Halloween was a glue on cyborg eye, so you could look like you had a Terminator eye, and then you had putty and all that stuff that you could put around to make it look like your skin was ripped open and all that. And you could actually see through the eye, but it had a little red light on there and all that. And that's what it looked like. It looked like someone had just stuck it on his face, and it didn't look like it was part of his head at all. You can honestly just tell, that the props department, the dressing department was like, come here a second. They stuck it on his face. Okay, now go out there. We're gonna actually film this thing right now. We need to do it. Here, Robot Man, just put this thing on. They stuck it on him, sent him out there. Yeah, it looks pretty bad. Yeah, and the Sentient Street, like I said, how they're going to do it is just going to be really, really weird. But with that said, we had another trailer that dropped earlier this week, and it was kind of an accidental drop. They really didn't want to do it until later, but Hellboy got dropped. And I know a lot of people are comparing it to Ron Perlman. I liked it, honestly. I liked where it was going. It did have the humor from the comic. It looked like the comic, especially that really badass last scene where he comes out with the horns, the flaming crown, the flaming sword, everything. That looked fucking awesome. Uh, Daimo, on the other hand, yeah, they could have gone a little bit more with the grotesque on the face instead of just the scratches that he had going on. And we haven't seen enough of the Blood Queen. I mean, yes, it's the first trailer. I'm pretty sure they haven't worked out all the CGI as of yet. So, this is an early trailer, but it's coming up close. I mean, April 12th, I believe, is when it comes out of next year. And they're just finally releasing the first trailer here in December. So 4 months away. And I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I really am. It's going to be badass, honestly. And we also had, as we talked before, Men in Black International trailer that came out with Chris Hemsworth. Excuse me. And we also had Liam Neeson in there as well, and Tessa Thompson. So that one I'm not too sure about. It looks like it could be fun, but it also looks like it could just go off a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. I really don't know how that one's going to go. I've been burned with trailers before, and Aquaman, and Justice League, Star Wars, episodes 1 through 3. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say on that one. Movie Fanobi, yeah, Emma Thompson was good, but I don't think she's necessary. I kind of wish they had started over fresh altogether instead of bringing anything in from the other movies, the Will Smith movies, because they actually have up on the wall. You can see they have the references to the first kind of movies. You can make references to them, but honestly, I don't need anything else to come in from the other movies. Just make them their own new movies. I need to cough when I say those titles. No, I don't. They suck, Jody. They know they suck. So that's all I'm going to say. Viking Bitch says, I too have been hurt by trailers. It's hard to build that trust again. It really is. I mean, they build you up with all this thing in a world where a man has no hope whatsoever. In comes a new hope for a better life. Yeah, okay, whatever. That's pretty much 90% of the trailers right there. But yeah, movie Fanobi, Thor Ragnarok was better than the Men in Black trailer, looks like. But I actually like Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok was a lot of fucking fun. It really was. And it also had Jeff Goldblum in it. You can't go wrong with Jeff Goldblum, can you? Hey, Silver Spike, how's it going? Welcome aboard the inaugural episode here. I don't know if I should call this episode 0 or episode 1. I'm still trying to debate on that one at the moment. Yeah, it's all this, putting things together, and so YouTube makes you go through all these little classes, like tutorials, if you will, in order to jump through hoops in order to get there. So I'm sitting there going, yeah, okay, I know this one. Oh, yeah, I know. Okay, I know. And then you get certificates. You get a certificate at the end for training. I do a lot of training in what I do, for a paycheck, my real job there. And yeah, I can just say it leaves a lot to be desired. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, movie Finobi. There's no way you can capture lightning in a bottle. I agree with you. Ragnarok was lightning in a bottle, and everyone's trying to copy it. You look at Aquaman, and uh, okay, I'm gonna step out. We have Swamp Thing coming out with by James Wan. James Wan is directing the first episode of Swamp Thing, and he's the executive producer on it for DC Universe. And he directed Aquaman. Aquaman was a pretty mess, is what I'm gonna say right now. Um, there was a lot of things that could have worked in it. Some things that did work, but a lot of it didn't. And I was on board when I first went into the movie theater. I was like jazzed about it going into this thing, and I left going, "What did I just watch? Why was it that convoluted? Why was the CGI so bad? Why did everyone look like Uncanny Valley?" Um, Tom Curry's head when they did it in the very beginning with the young Tom Curry, his forehead wouldn't move, and that's all I kept fixating on. It was just really weird. And no, Jody, I don't think Swamp Thing's going to have Constantine. They said that they are. Um, what did he say? He said that the first episode's going to be based on an Alan Moore story. And unfortunately, I have the feeling after seeing Aquaman that he's going to condense like a story that went over a series of comics into one episode, because that's what he did with Aquaman. He took a whole bunch of stories from Aquaman that spanned series, or a couple of like about 12 comics, and he condensed them into a scene of Aquaman. And it was a shit show, really, is what it was. You're sitting there just kind of watching it going, what the hell, man? Why couldn't you just have used a part of that instead of using the whole thing and then just cramming it in? Because that's what he did. He basically, it's like he took puzzle pieces that didn't fit together and just kind of used a mallet and slammed them together. And that's what I'm kind of worried about right now for Swamp Thing, how that's going to play out. Although he's got a longer format to work with now, so hopefully he stretches it out a bit. That's all he needs to do. Kato Roan says, I have the same fixation on Jodie's nose. She pulls her upper lip when she talks, giving her the disgust look. Oh, is that Doctor Who? Yeah, I don't talk about Doctor Who. I don't care about it. Yeah, there's plenty of other channels that discuss it, and honestly, it's boring. So that and Star Trek Discovery, I don't need to talk about either one of those two because honestly, they both suck. So. No, Jody, that wasn't the why I disliked. It as I was sitting there watching it more and more. Go and take a look at the video. It just kind of, as it went in further and further, there was more and more things that just weren't working, and it was too long. It was too long for what it was, and it was a mess. It really was. And the acting and the editing, my God, the editing at one point. There are two people. It's Mira and him and Aquaman talking to each other, and they are literally cutting back, forth, back, forth, back, forth every time someone says a sentence, instead of intersplicing it with a two-shot, two-person shot, medium shot. No, they had to keep going back, forth, back, forth, back, forth between each sentence. And I was sitting there looking at it going, why are they doing this? This is like a first-year, editing student doing this that doesn't know how to edit any better. And it was really bad. I mean, just really, really, really bad. Yeah, sorry, Kato. I'm gonna state right now for the channel here, if I'm not liking a show, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna bother wasting my time on it. There's so much stuff out there that's good. That's what I'm gonna base it on. And I only have so much time in a day, to tell you the truth. I've got to sleep too at some point, eat, and I got a little dog that I gotta walk. So I'm gonna try and keep up with some stuff, but yeah, for the most part, I'm not going to keep up with everything, and especially I'm not going to hate watch things. It's not worth it. honestly. Life's too short to hate watch shit. So, yeah. That's why I was kind of disappointed in Aquaman, man. I really was. It was like hate watching, unfortunately, with that. So, on to something good. Um, I don't know if you saw, I posted up this little trailer for TBS has a new show called Miracle Workers, and it's going to be showing up on February 12th. And it's got Steve Buscemi as God and Daniel Radcliffe, yes, Harry Potter himself, as an angel that works under God. And it's very twisted. It looks like it's right up my alley. Um, it really does. And essentially, Daniel Radcliffe's character works in answered prayers or unanswered prayers. I guess there's billions coming in at a time, and he's by himself until he gets an assistant. Yeah, Pen Farm Girl. Steve Buscemi plays God, and it's the funniest thing. He's very lackadaisical at this point and disillusioned about stuff, and he doesn't know what he wants to do. And there's a great line in there at one point. He goes, I missed it when people used to sacrifice animals to me and things like that. He goes, I mean, come on, why don't people sacrifice animals to me anymore? And his assistant says, because that kind of grossed you out, didn't it? And he's like, oh, yeah, it did. But still, it was the thought that counts. So, Jody, I won't probably be reviewing The Good Place just because there is too much backstory to go through at this point. And I'm just going to there's new stuff coming out every day, man. But and I know people are going to equate this one a little bit to The Good Place. It's a little different since I don't think they're going to be dealing with Earth at all, other than in video segments, like what's being watched on TV, that kind of thing. It's all going to be taking place in heaven or whatever this thing is supposed to be, that God is there. So, Joe Greer, how's it going? Thanks for showing up. Yeah, it's a very interesting looking show, so I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens. I wonder if it's going to follow the other TBS formats where it's only half an hour long each episode, because that's what it looks like. Yeah. So, and also, Daniel Radcliffe looks like it's pretty damn funny in this one as well. So on to some Star Wars news. As you can see, I got my little Star Wars mug there. We finally found out who Nick Nolte is going to be playing in The Mandalorian. And this is the TV show that Jon Favreau is producing, and he is the showrunner for, and also stars, some interesting people. But Nick Nolte is going to be playing an Ugnaught. Yeah, he's going to be playing an Ugnaught, and it's not going to be a digital Ugnaught either. He's not going to be doing he isn't going to be doing the physical performance for this. It's a very weird thing. They have a woman who is going to be lip syncing along with him, which I guess they said she does it perfectly. And she's going to be wearing a prosthetic that is going to mimic the facial features that Nick Nolte is going to have on him and making the facial features for and doing the voice for. So it's going to be live action. It's going to be weird. It's going to be a weird thing. I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. It sounds too weird to be feasible. So I'm very interested to see how this is going to do that there. Your cup might be bigger than mine, Fanobi. I'm glad for you. Genetics, congratulations. So yeah, he is going to be playing an Ugnaught, is what he's going to be playing. And there's also been a rumor that's come out that it's again, Jody, it remains to be seen if it's going to be weird good or weird bad. I have to see what it's going to look like first before I can make my decision on it, because who knows what that's going to look like. Again, you could go through Uncanny Valley, but I think with the practical effects of the prosthetics, they're probably going to blend in some CGI to it as well. I'm fairly sure they're going to have to, and it could look pretty good, but I don't understand why they just didn't go digital with it, and do a CGI altogether instead of going through all this painful process. And yeah, just that's what's weird about it for me. Thinking about it from the practical sense of how they're going to put this together. The other thing that's kind of weird that they're doing with this series is they're bringing in IG-88, the robotic bounty hunter from the Star Wars series. And what they also said is that IG-88 might be bringing in the droid Gatra, is what it's called. And the droid Gatra is basically a cabal of droids that are assassins. This was brought up in novels, the comics, things like that. So it's going to be interesting that they're actually going to bring in these droids other than what we've seen in recent comics, not recent comics, excuse me. All the live action stuff that we've seen with the droids in the Star Wars universe has been subservient to the most part, except for Solo, which no one really wants to talk about, with Leet. Is that what her name was? Leet, I believe. Yeah. So having a droid assassin or a league of droid assassins is going to be kind of interesting. And I'm kind of interested in seeing that. And also Bosk supposedly is there too. Or at least someone who looks like Bosk is going to be coming in. At least this is what was seen on set. So that's got me intrigued. The Mandalorian is looking more and more like it's going to be some fun. And of course, we have until the end of 2019, I think, before that even comes about. We'll see then if I'm going to be covering that or not. Yeah. So I'm just looking at the chat there and seeing what people were talking about. Oops, there we go. Got a couple of different things here before we wrap things up. I'm going to keep it fairly short and sweet. Since we started, got about another 20 minutes or so here before I end things. So Brian K. Vaughan, Y the Last Man creator, has signed an 8-figure deal with Legendary Entertainment to develop projects for TV and film. 8 figures. That is amazing. I'm interested in seeing what he's going to come up with, where he's going to bring, out there. And if Y the Last Man could ever make it to TV, that'll be interesting as well, because I believe it's in development hell again. It keeps going from different places. I know it's supposed to be on FX now at this point, and I really don't know what the hell is happening with it, because there's been no word on it. It's kind of like Taboo Season 2. No one knows what the hell is going on with it. A League of Robot Assassins, exactly. That is actually a title that they should be. That's what I should have named this thing, was League of Robot Assassins. I should have named the podcast that. Yeah, Mufinobi Favreau is going to make a difference, I believe. He is the one. Without him, you wouldn't have had a Marvel Universe, because he was the one that started Iron Man, and also, oh, sorry, I touched my table there, and that's why it's getting a little bouncy for a second there. He's the one who started Iron Man, and also has been involved in piecing together the Marvel Universe along with Kevin Feige. And if he could do that, and he's a huge Star Wars fan as well, I think it's in good hands. I really do believe. So, yeah, I'm not reading any of the posts from Fenobi and Viking Bitch, because I don't think any of our viewers are going to want that saccharine sweet. Yeah, there's no insulin shots around here, or EpiPens. And yeah, Jody Favreau is the only reason why I'm considering watching The Mandalorians as well. Mufinobi says you need fans of creators along with talented people. If you don't have love for the material, the execution fails. Exactly. And I've been talking about this a lot, beforehand, that if you don't care about what you're working on, if you don't care for the material, the source material, if you just are there to make a name for yourself, Rian Johnson, um, then yeah, your movies are going to fail, and people are going to see that you don't have any kind of love for that genre. You're basically just spitting in people's faces at that point. The people that actually do like the that content and want to see it done justice, or at least done halfway right. Um, Especially in this day and age, we have so many ways of doing special effects. I mean, you could do animated, you could do digital, CGI. You can do live action now. The possibilities are pretty much endless of how you can do things. We've seen this now, and it's quick. Look at Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse. That was done within 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, and that's pretty damn quick. And this was with these two guys working out of their stuff as well. So, yeah. Yeah. No, that's okay if Mufinobi. You guys can you could be real with the feels. That's fine. As long as they're not in hallways. And speaking of which, I did review Elseworlds and I liked it. I mean, Elseworlds was a lot of fun. It was very cheesy. So again, this is the way you do cheesy and still make it fun, but not go over the top and become bad again, kind of like Aquaman did. Elseworlds did it right. And at one point in the very first episode, they were talking about wanting to talk about his feelings in the hallway, which I thought was pretty funny. I did have to go there, Jody. Yes, about talking about feelings in hallways, because that's what it's all about. But, and excuse me, finally, that's all I can say is finally, Terry Gilliam's The Man Who Killed Don Quixote will hit theaters as a Fathom event. Those Fathom event things where you have to, they only happen on like 2 or 3 days and only for one showing, something like that. It's going to be in theaters on March 2019. I don't know when in March 2019, but it's going to be out there. You can go to Fathom events and take a look at what they're going to do. But that movie is finally making its way out to the public. And I've been interested to see, man, he's been working on that thing for like 20 some odd years now. It has gone through so much. It's going to be interesting to see how that thing came out. Yes, I know he doesn't own it anymore, so he has no hand in it at the moment. But I do want to see how it turned out, because it is everything that he edited and put together at the very end there. Yeah, Kato Roan, going back to Elseworlds, they are building up to Crisis, and everything's been Crisis about when Flash started. They were talking about Crisis in the beginning. They started with Flashpoint, and now they've moved on to Elseworlds, and now to Crisis. The thing is, though, Mark Guggenheim, he's the guy who was the one who put Elseworlds together. I believe he was the one that was caught up in the whole Me Too thing and got canned, if I remember correctly. So if that's the case, then the person who is kind of overseeing all of this is now gone. And I'm wondering where they're going to go with it, because Jeff Johns Jeff Johns is not coming in. He's doing the movies now at this point, and also comics, because he's gone back into the comics realm. So where do you go from there? And yeah, Pen Farm Girl, Legends weren't in this year's crossover because they were doing their own thing. They were doing their magical mystery tour, if you will. And they even made fun of it in the episode that was during the Elseworlds week. They said, "Oh yeah, Flash and Green Arrow, they're doing their annual crossover thing. Yeah, they're gonna skip it this time." They actually said that in the show, which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah, Kato Run, it is scary for CW shows that someone who's doing their cohesive writing or bringing those worlds together is now gone. Yeah, because granted, they're not the best shows in the world. They're fun though. They are cheesy fun. So, and I can see how people don't like it, but it is what it is. And yeah, Pen Farm Girl, you can actually watch them. CW has an app that you can watch them all for free. And Movie Nobi, you want to know what my shirt is? That is actually a Superman shirt. That's what that is. With some comics in there. All that kind of stuff. Yeah, I know my fancy new mic is in the way. I have a stand coming, or a little mount for my arm, my microphone arm. It just didn't come in time. That's all. That's why my mic is in the way here. And I'm still working on getting that stuff put in as well. So, Mufinobi asked, "What's the art in progress?" So the art in progress, there's always art in progress. I could take it down. Hang on a sec. Let me see if I can actually get to it without pulling crap out of my ears. And yeah, there we go. So what this is, and I'm showing it to you sideways here, is actually I take comics, from the dollar bin. Of course, now it's all wonky. There we kind of go. All right. So I take comics from the dollar bin. I cut them up, and I put them onto. I actually paper mache them onto a canvas, and then I take gesso, which is so gesso is this white stuff that you actually put on canvas in order to prime it for paint and things like that. I water it down and paint over that, so it gives it some tooth to it, so then I can paint on top of it. And then I do acrylic paints on top of that with usually, I don't know if I'm doing Leia or Vader on that one. So I'm trying to think about what I want to do on that one at the moment. Sometimes it comes out, sometimes it doesn't. I have a Spider-Man one that I've been working on for 5 years. It's a small one. And I just didn't like the way it came out. And, it disappoints me every time I look at it, sitting in the kitchen, just kind of staring at me when I go in. It mocks me is what it does. I'll come back to it at some point and try and do it. Yeah. Yeah, I know Viking Bitch knows what gesso is and uses that. Yeah, I thinned it out. It's kind of funny. I did this. I was trying to think of how, in order to paint on top of the comics themselves without, getting a little tooth on there, so I can actually put some acrylic on there. And I had a whole bunch of gesso, and I'm like, okay, well, if I just water it down a bit and do that, I can actually get some tooth on there, which it worked. And then I found out like years later that there's actually a technique. It's called a certain technique, and I don't know what it's called, but that's an art technique, which I discovered on my own, which is kind of funny. A bit sadistic, or is it masochistic? You're talking about that one that's in the kitchen that keeps mocking me. I don't know. There's times I've actually talked about, just burning it and letting it be done with it. But then I'm like, I put some work into it. How do I want to do it? And yes, Mufinobi, I do have red acrylic paint. I know what to do, work on it. Yes, I know what you're getting at, and I am working on that. I will be doing that. Would love to see a Star Wars comic art piece. Maybe if you do a Patreon down the road, or YouTube showing us your art. Yeah, I can do that at some point in time. I honestly, I haven't worked on anything in a while. I'm still kind of, even though I've moved into this place about a year ago, almost a year ago now, I'm still in flux of how I'm moving things around. My projects that I have over this break right now are a Lego ship in a bottle. That's what it's called. It literally is a Lego ship in a bottle. with like almost 1,000 pieces. And then there is a wood music box that's shaped like a robot dog, is what this is. I have the robot man sitting at my desk at work. It's a music box that I built a while back, and now I got the dog, so I'm going to be doing that one as well. But yeah. Uh, though Jody says at Pen Farm Girl, depends on if you mean if it inflicts pain or enjoys receiving pain. Yeah. See, when I look at that piece when I walk in, I'm because it's sitting right in the kitchen as I walk in, and I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I need to finish it. And I'm like, do I really want to finish it? And then it's usually when I'm washing something in the sink, and I'm looking at that, thinking about what I want to do, and if I just want to burn it, be over with it. It literally is like a 5-6 year old project that's been sitting there. I think it was when I first moved down to San Diego. I did that one and did it. But yeah, I have a whole bunch of different comics and things like that that are primed for. Actually, the space behind me here is reserved for something else that I was working on, and I started working on that in the moment. So that might actually get done possibly over the break here as well. Slurmy Scott says, I want to see the mural you painted. It's really cool. Yeah, the mural is still up at the store from what I understand. So if you're ever in San Francisco, it is right above the door. As you walk in, it's up above the door. And that one took forever to do, man. I'm telling you. Not to mention the contact high that I got off of the, because I use Sharpie markers, like the big ones, as well as acrylic paints. And it wasn't well ventilated, the space that I was in, let's just say. So yeah. Yeah, Viking bitch. I keep going back and forth on about whether or not I want to burn it. So yeah, it's very weird on that one. So what are you guys into right now? What are you guys looking at? Watching TV wise? Right now we're kind of in the dry spot, dry spot, as opposed to the wet spot. And for TV, because there really isn't anything out there except for Counterpart that's going on right now, which I've been watching, by the way. I saw the first 2 episodes of Counterpart. I may go back and I might start with just episode 3 and do a recap of episode 3 and do that from there, starting tomorrow. Oh, that's right. Runaways. I forgot about Runaways. Crap. So yeah, I've also got to start Runaways and Orville. Yes. That first episode of Counterpart was kind of weird. It didn't feel like it was firing on all cylinders. And then it took about halfway through the episode, it kind of clicked into gear for me. But yeah, and yeah, I forgot about Travelers as well on Netflix. I have been watching Travelers. I can't go back though and do recaps of the first 2 seasons. It's just way too much. And the thing about Netflix shows, Netflix series, is they drop all at once. So it's hard to do an episode by episode recap of those things. It's easier just to do go through it and go, okay, here's what the season was about, and do it from there. But the ones that are coming out weekly, those are a lot easier. You could just do a recap of the red threads. Red threads? What do you mean? And yeah, Joker. I do like Travelers a lot. All the people that are involved in that were all involved with Stargate SG-1, and they brought that vibe over, but also darkened it up quite a bit as well. And I just find the whole premise. I like time travel stories. I really, really dig time travel stories. So having them doing this time travel in a way that is kind of fucked up in a way, because it erases people at the time of their death and then reboots them into someone else. And I think that's just kind of messed up. Kato Roan says, okay, so about the way people can watch your video when a new season comes out, the general story. Oh, okay. So you mean just do a recap of the whole season and then start into the new season episode by episode. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I was thinking of doing that with Futureman, but Futureman's just too good that I actually want to go back, and because I originally wanted to do this with where I was before and do a episode by episode thing, and uh, you know, it got shot down. Let's just say so. Mufinobi says, been watching The Good Place, Counterpart, Orville, rewatching Fringe and Doctor Who with Viking Bitch. Good ones. The good ones. Are there good ones? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. There are good ones. And I do need to do Travelers, also Venture Brothers season 1. Yeah, Venture Brothers. It's awesome. Yeah. And Sculpted Leather Art by Viking Bitch says, did you see Big Mouth on Netflix? It was a lot funnier than I thought it would be. I haven't. I've seen it pop up in the queue, but I haven't bitten on it as of yet. I'm trying to think. I finished Frontier. Frontier season 3 came out, and I burned through that in a day. It's the best Conan story without him being Conan. I swear to God, man. Jason Momoa, he played Conan in that movie, and it was god awful. And then he goes and does Frontier, and he plays Conan in Frontier, and I'm like, where was this? I mean, why couldn't you have just done that? But yeah. And Slurmy, yeah, some people are into time travel shows. I really am. I like the whole aspect, like Timeless, which just ended. I like the aspect that you can't go back into your own timeline, you know, where you lived, yeah, like your lifetime and all that kind of stuff, because it messes too much with the continuum. And yeah, speaking of continuum, yes, Joe Greer, I tried watching Continuum, and I don't know why that one really just kind of frustrated me. Excuse me. So, but yeah, and now she is on Titans. She plays Raven's mother. Yeah, that's all I can say. Jody says, I love time travel stories too, but they need to be done well. Poorly written time travel shows can get frustrating. Yeah, they can really get frustrating to watch. Especially when you set up a rule or rules, if you will, for time travel, then you violate them within your own series or your own movie, like Looper. Yeah, I did go there. Looper is a really good movie up until the last 15 minutes, then it violates every single thing it's set up in that movie and fucks it up completely. Yeah. Mufinobi, stick with 12 Monkeys, man. It's really good. It pays off in the end. It pays off really, really well in the end, to the point where you're like, holy shit, how did they do this? You could tell they probably had a wall, like a huge wall in the writing room with string that they were just putting, you know, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. And they pieced everything together. And how they did it, I don't know. It's amazing. Very, very amazing. And yeah, Slurmy, Jason Momoa does have limits in his acting skills. But you know, he's a growler is what he is. He looks mean, that kind of thing. And that works for Frontier, and it should have worked for Conan, but it didn't. Kato Run, I tried getting into the Badlands. I tried getting into that thing. I like martial arts. Bunraku is the name of a movie that has Ron Perlman in it. God, Woody Harrelson's in it. Demi Moore is in it. And this is a fairly recent movie, like in the last couple of years. And it's a really interesting movie that is set in the same kind of tone. It's actually the same kind of world, and it came out before Into the Badlands. So I thought I would like it, and then I tried watching it, and I was just bleh. My mind just kept wandering as I was watching it, and I would fall asleep during it. And once I start falling asleep during a show,
and I'm trying to watch it, and I go back and I try to watch it, and I keep falling asleep. I'm done with it. I just can't do it. And I just didn't find any of the characters. None of the characters were appealing to me. It didn't hook me at all. Yeah, that's right. You're gonna go and see. I forgot. Mufanobi's gonna go and see Aquaman because his mom's wants to go over there. She wants to drool over Jason Momoa. Yeah. Yeah, Mufanobi. Yeah. Ugh, bringing a sponge for your mom's drool. Your mom's Momoa drool. That's really weird. You know what? Momoa seems like a kind of a cool guy to hang out with, that kind of thing. And he's not a bad actor for some of the movies that he's been in, for some of the things he's in, but he's not a good actor for every movie, if you will. He's not a versatile actor. He fits certain roles. That's all I'm going to say. Christmas Black Mirror special. That's right. I forgot about that. They are doing a movie. Black Mirror is doing a movie, and I don't know if it's a Christmas special, or I think they're just doing a movie. Is what I read. So is Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They have, I believe, they have it up now as an episode that's a Christmas episode. And I like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, or the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Yeah, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is what it was called on Netflix. So I'm actually, that's one thing I got to take a look at afterwards. I keep looking over this way because that's where my TV is right behind me. You guys have seen it before. It was what I was using as a background at one point in time. So yeah. I haven't gotten into Night Flyers yet, Joker. I haven't tried it yet, and I'm not a huge George R. Martin fan. I know people are like, "Oh my God, how can't you not be?" His writing. I remember reading Wild Cards on the years back when it first came out, the first book, and I was like, "Yeah, this is pretty shitty. The writing is pretty bad," and never went back to it ever again. And then Game of Thrones, when it came out, I have the first season on Blu-ray someplace up there, and it was good. And then the second season, I was like, all right, you know. And then I've been hearing things that Night Flyers, has been kind of dull, is what I've been hearing online from different people. So I haven't. It hasn't really pushed me to go out and watch it. And again, like I said, there's so much stuff out there. It's hard to prioritize my time as to what I'm going to watch and what I'm not going to. So, and yes, Mufanobi, I am going to Comic-Con next year, the 50th anniversary of Comic-Con. I wasn't going to miss that. I live in San Diego here, so I mean, I can't not go. And also, it gets me away from the office, that kind of thing as well. I don't go to the local comic shops anymore, even though it's kind of funny. One of my old landlords was he owns a comic book store here. I think I've told you about him before. Jamie Newbold, who owns Southern California Comics. As a matter of fact, I've got a picture of him. You're going to hear a whole bunch of crap slide off there at the moment, but there we go. So Jamie is the comic forensologist. That is him right there on the cover. And what he does is he's actually certified to grade comics. He's like one of, I can't remember how many, but so this is about grading comics and his life in comics, things like that. Great guy. He's a former cop too, San Diego PD. And like I said, he owns Southern California Comics, which has been around forever down here. And if I do go into a place, that's usually the place I go into. There is a place over here which is comics and stuff. It's kind of a chain, and I've gone into there before as well, but I don't go in there for the comics. I go in there for all the other periphery stuff because they have statues and stuff like that for cheap. So, Good Omens, I'll check it out. I tried getting into the book back when it first came out. It's actually, I think, someplace up here as well, behind me. But yeah, I haven't. I couldn't get into the book, but the production looks really nice. It really does. I'm not the biggest Gaiman fan. I know a lot of people are, and I've tried getting into him, but for some reason, Neil Gaiman doesn't do it for me. Where do I buy my $1 comics? I buy them from Jamie, actually. Jamie is the one who has his $1 comics. He's got tons of them. That's why I go through and I will go in there and see, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to paint Green Lantern? Do I want to do, something else? And so I will flip through the books and take a look at that, and pick stuff up and chop those up, if you will, and use them for my art. And yes, Mufinobi Preacher did get renewed for a season 4. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting, considering that Goldberg and Seth are going to be working on The Boys now. I know they're still technically showrunners of Preacher, but I don't think they're. You could tell they had a hands-off approach on season 3. It was somebody else. And I didn't draw the astronaut movie Fanobi. I actually pieced that together in Illustrator. So, and his name, by the way, is Astro. Yeah, so that is actually a construct of shapes that I put together in Illustrator and then positioned for the logo. I needed to come up with a new logo. The picture of my ugly mug as a stencil, I've used it before. So, yeah. And besides, I don't think it's friendly to have me flipping off people for a podcast. Especially if I want to grow a little bit, And like I said, I'm not in this for, the money or anything like that. I actually just wanted to, come out here and talk to people. I actually love talking to people and doing this. It's actually a lot of fun. It's one of the things I miss of a comic book store, of going in all the time. Because, you go in and you just talk to people of all different types of, what do you like? What TV shows do you watch? And you talk about everything under the sun, except for real world stuff. Sometimes the real world stuff creeps into, but, not really. It's more about genre stuff. So superheroes, fantasy, sci-fi, you name it, it's there. And that's what I want to talk about. There's enough drama in life where we don't need to talk about that shit. We talk about it enough in our, in our real lives. And that's what this is all about. It's just getting together and talking about the fantasy stuff, the make-believe. So, and yeah, it took me a little while to figure out how to run the live chat there, Viking Bitch. Thanks. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it. YouTube had put these weird restrictions on you when you're doing new channels and things like that. So it was, I was kind of wondering if I was going to be able to do it or not. And it looks like I was. So that's actually a good thing. And yeah, Silver Spike, I miss talking to you guys too. So thanks for showing up. I mean, yeah, we have 10 viewers here, which is fine. I mean, I don't need hundreds or thousands or anything like that. It makes it easier to talk to people too, instead of having the thing scrolling up like, mad all the time and trying to figure out, who's talking about what. Yeah, the truth is out there. Mufinobi, you brought it up. Sorry, I was in the middle of a sentence. You're going to see I bounce around all over the place. I do this in real life. I will talk about one thing, bounce over to another topic. I will come back around, and then I will actually finish what I was talking about before. So beware of that right now. I know I didn't get to talk a lot before, and now you're going to hear me talk a lot more, which is going to be a weird thing for y'all. Um, Project Blue Book. Project Blue Book, I'm really looking forward to on the History Channel of all places, and I will be covering that one because that looks like it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. You know, Jody, if I do blow up, I do blow up. If I don't, I don't. It's not. It honestly, it doesn't matter. Like I said, I'm not in this for fame or fortune or anything like that. I'm just in here to talk about stuff, to get the stuff out of my, out of my system. I like to talk about this stuff with other people. At work, a lot of people don't watch the same stuff that I do. Of course, they don't watch any of it. So I don't have anybody to talk to about this kind of stuff at work. I used to actually have a roommate of mine that also worked with me that was into the same geeky crap. So we talked about this crap all the time. So it's a good way of getting this out there. Yeah, Bufanobi, don't apologize for anything. You don't need to apologize. And where are we at on time here? Yeah, we're at the little over the hour mark. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go so you can get on with the rest of your Saturday, because I'm going to do the same. I've got a little dog here that keeps looking at me like, hey, man, when are you going to take me out to pee? Kind of thing. And yeah, Mufinobi, it is good to bounce stuff off of people and to talk to people too, and talk about things that you like. Quite honestly, like I said before, life's too short to have to talk about crap that you don't like, or hate watch shows, or any of that stuff. Yeah, you don't need to be negative about that stuff. When am I going to have another stream? I'm probably going to do, like I said, tomorrow. That's right. I should actually talk about this too. I am going to do a stream tomorrow, and I believe it's about 10 a.m. I'm going to do it for episode 1, season 1 of Futureman. So if you haven't watched it, take a look at Hulu. I am going to do that first episode there. I'm going to be doing these every Saturday morning. 9:30 a.m. probably works pretty well. I believe that'll work. I'm probably going to do Counterpart as well. I don't know if I'm doing that tomorrow as well, but that might just be recorded. I'm not too sure as of yet. I will put stuff up on Facebook. Take a look at my Facebook page. I will put scheduling up there. I do, like I did for this one, I usually schedule them out in advance so you know when they're going to happen. And also has a link so you can come in. You can like that page as well. That way you can follow it. And I think, like I said, once I get more into it, I can put up a whole schedule on the website as well. And put together a schedule. Since that'll work. So thank you, everybody, for coming in. Thank you, Jody, Movie Fanobi, Joe Greer III, Sculpted Leather Art by Viking Bitch, Silver Spike 1, Pen Farm Girl, Slurmy Scott. Who else do we have in here? It's only 10 people, so it should be that. Felipe Diaz, Kato Roan. And I said Pen Farm Girl. Yes, I did. And I know there's some other people that are floating around in here. So thank you all, and enjoy the rest of your day. But other than that, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. And I'll see you guys next time. Night or day, morning.